Live from Atlanta, Georgia, it's the Zach Ballinger Show, where we help you find your direction through passion and purpose. My name is Zach Ballinger. I am your host. Thank you so much for joining us today. Back with you from vacation in Montana, my first week back, but I have a very, very exciting guest, and I'm glad to kick off this year with him. Dave Meltzer, thank you so much for joining the show today.
Oh, it's my pleasure, and welcome back, and very excited to help other people with their most important decision, which is their passion, their purpose, and how it's tied to profitability.
Yeah, so for those of this who don't know, me and Dave actually align on a lot of different things. We actually did a TED Talk together at the Oracle Center in Redwood City, California. We got to talk a lot throughout the day. I think we share kind of the same vision over people's lives. So I'm very excited to have you with you today. Just for the audience out there, the format's going to be easy. We're going to do a lightning round to learn more about Dave's career. We're going to go into more long format questions. And then at the end, you guys will get a chance to ask Dave some questions as well. He's got an exciting announcement to share with my audience, and I'm really happy that he's doing it on this show. Dave, how does that sound?
Amazing. Thank you so much.
All right, let's get started. So what is your specific occupation, your title? What do you do?
So I'm the co-founder of Sports One Marketing, which is one of the leading sports and entertainment companies specializing in sponsorship, advertising, and media. And then I also have built my own brand underneath the sports business, which has been especially beneficial during COVID, since most of our marketing and media was spent with the largest events in the world: the Super Bowl, Pro Bowl, Masters, Kentucky Derby, Breeders' Cup, all the award shows like the ESPYs, Emmys, Oscars, and Grammys. So for 6 months, all of our platform was torn out from below us. So I built my own brand based off of coaching and speaking, teaching. I have 2 TV shows: Elevator Pitch, which I produce for Entrepreneur; 2-Minute Drill, which is launching on Bloomberg, which is a 2-minute pitch show as well. And then, of course, all the other business development that is now outside of that platform.
Wow. And so how many years have you done this particular line of work?
You know, I've been in this line of work since probably now 20 years. I was CEO of Lee Steinberg Sports Entertainment, the most notable sports agency in the world. And then Warren Moon, the Hall of Fame quarterback, and I spun off our marketing and media company.
And what do you like most about your job? What are you passionate about?
You know, what I love is helping people. And I have a motto: the 3 things I love about my job: I make a lot of money so I can help a lot of people and have a lot of fun. I love sports and entertainment. So I live a dream life with a dream job.
Awesome. And this is sometimes tough for folks, but what do you like least about your job, or what's some of the sacrifices you have to make to do your line of work?
Overhead, number one, is my least favorite part of any business or any job that I've had. But in some respects, my favorite and least favorite thing about my job are employees. And it's because I care so much. And, you know, when you have to draw a line between personal and professional, when you have to draw a line between philanthropy and profit, when you have to draw a line between, you know, a human being and a business thing in business. So a heartbeat of a human being and their family, and a heartbeat of a business where you have to provide opportunities for others. Employees are the most difficult because of that duplicity, because of that conflict.
Gotcha. And let's say, students out there listening are professional and they've always kind of want to be their own entrepreneur. Maybe they want to do it specifically in your line of work. What education, training, experience, certifications, anything that you would recommend?
So I would recommend in the sports world more of an emotional intelligence training. So being educated in any field, and I've seen doctors, lawyers, MBAs all do extremely, finance people all do extremely well. But the main skill that they have is an emotional intelligence, a type of street smart of empathy, of understanding people on emotion for logical reasons. And any of the aforementioned education will give you the reasons, but where most people fall down is they don't have the emotional intelligence in order to effectuate the emotional attachment that most people have to sports and entertainment.
That makes sense. And what does a typical day look like? I know that's hard for a lot of folks because that changes, obviously, but, is there a typical day, and how would you describe that?
Well, it's one that I would recommend for everyone and no matter what career. So I have two routines. My typical routine is to wake up at 4 a.m. every day, 20 minutes of meditation, 10 minutes to get ready. Best piece of advice I can give everyone is spend a minimum of an hour a day on your health. Find something that you enjoy to increase your health, a minimum of an hour a day before your family, before activity you get paid for. Prioritize your health. Take it from me. If you don't, you'll never be healthy. And health is the number one thing, from Steve Jobs to Bill Gates to the president of the United States. Everybody realizes no matter what job you have, if you're not healthy, it's going to suck. So I spend a minimum of an hour a day on my health. I then study. Most people don't realize this. I study an hour and a half a day. Studying has a unique definition for me. Studying is paying attention to and giving intention to the coincidences I want for the day, taking inventory of my values, asking for the right things. But I study particularly in my calendar what I have planned, what I don't have planned in my sleep, and then I execute on that study until the end of the day, where once again, I spend an hour and a half with my family, grid off, only family time, and then another hour studying. And then I have a wind down routine, which a lot of people don't have. And the wind down routine guarantees I'll be up tomorrow at 4 a.m. by making sure I put myself in the mental, physical, spiritual, and financial position to sleep well. Finally, the second routine is all value based. Minimum of an hour a day on my health, minimum of time with my wife, my son, my 3 teenage daughters, my mom, and a minimum of time studying. So those three things in an adaptable routine, when things aren't going normal in your typical day, you need to have an adaptable routine that's prioritized by your values. For me, it's my health, my family, and activity I get paid for.
Awesome. Great answer. And thanks for shining a light a little bit more on your career. Now we'll go into the long format questions. So I've got a lot of college students out there that are listening that are just maybe freshmen that are entering, they know they want to do a business type career. And now specifically you're entrepreneur in marketing, and that's kind of your specialty. What should somebody know about a marketing career? You know, I think in college, I actually majored in marketing, and I don't know. The only reason I majored in it, to be quite honest with you, is because I was terrible at accounting. I wasn't any good at logistics. I hated economics. So they just pigeonholed me in this marketing section because that was the only thing left. What do you look for, you know, if you're a student out there and you're entering marketing, what should they know you're going to be doing?
So what I want everyone to think about it more is themes. And you're more typical than atypical for a college student, someone that really doesn't know what it is, even that they're majoring in or minoring in. Those are just themes. Sports management, theme. Marketing, theme. Sales, theme. What I want you all to think about is, what skills do I want to develop? What skills do I want to develop? And make those applicable to the classes that you're taking. 2, what knowledge do I want to acquire? And make those applicable to the classes that you're taking under any theme or any major, any minor. That's all branding and marketing for credibility. But really look at the skills, the knowledge of not only what you want to learn, but who you want to learn it from. Meaning, if you're a marketing person, you could learn from Dave Meltzer. And I have a certain specific specialty in marketing that has drawn in marketing for over 35 years, from the internet into handhelds, into sports, and into social media and esports and all the other things that I never thought that I'd be involved with. But you look and see knowledge-wise who you want to learn it from. And then most importantly, manage your desire. The most common denominator, I'm blessed to have a podcast called The Playbook. It's one of the top entrepreneur podcasts. It's the top career podcast, believe it or not. It's called The Playbook. And all the famous people come on it. Entertainers, celebrities, athletes, everyone from Dan Aykroyd and Cameron Diaz to Danica Patrick to Ray Lewis. You name it, they're on it. The common denominator is that desire component. You have to be able to train yourself as a muscle, that you must be what you can be, that you're getting the most out of things. Realize that no matter who you are, a certain percentage of your life sucks. In fact, I believe that everyone has the same amount of suck in their lives. It's how we deal with that percentage of suck that's so important. And the way we deal with it is to look at the skills and knowledge to entice yourself to learn to find the lessons, learn to find the light and the love in what you're doing. Forget about the theme. That's a marketing ploy. Accounting, marketing, sales, I was a lawyer, right? I went to law school, fell under the guise of my mom, doctor, lawyer, failure. I was a maritime lawyer, oil and gas lawyer. I've never stepped a day in a maritime case or law situation in my life, but I developed so many great skills that helped me be one of the top marketers in the world.
That's such great advice because, that's one of my questions to you. Through this career journey, most of the people that I've talked to that either own successful businesses or they're a lawyer or doctor, whatever they do. And what I define as success is that you're happy and you're passionate in your career, you're doing the most you can in life. But I would say that for you, is there any setbacks you can look back towards in your life and say, I think, and behind the scene, there's adversity in everybody's story. Do you have any moments like that in your life?
Oh, every day I have them, but I had a really big one. I lost over $100 million in 2008. I went bankrupt. But I see, and with the advantage of being old or experienced, whatever perspective you want to take, I have a huge advantage that every time I had a setback, I didn't get into Stanford, or I didn't get into a job that I wanted, or I lost everything and they moved me out of my house and residences and ski mountain and golf courses. They all were setting me up for something better. And I think one perspective I'd like to share with all the people out there is one thing that has been a blessing in my life is I have 3 different stages that I'm always in. One, I'm in a stage of happiness, meaning I'm always happy where I am. I know I'm at the right place at the perfect time. 2, I want to be somewhere better. So I'm going to angle to somewhere better. Even though I'm happy where I'm at, I'm going to angle. I want to accelerate and improve and pursue something better. And I'm going to angle toward that, knowing there's not a direct from A to B ever. In fact, if you want to make God laugh, come up with a good developed plan. He'll laugh at you every time. So just be a realist. Step 2, angle to what you want. And then step 3, most importantly, have faith. Have faith that you'll end up somewhere better, so that when you lose everything, or you don't get the job you wanted, or you don't get the grade on the test that you wanted, rule number 6 applies. Don't take yourself so seriously. You're just angling towards something better. The universe has a much more powerful hand telling you, hey, you didn't want that anyway. Here's something better. Have faith in something better is coming to you.
That's so powerful. That story about losing everything. I've met people that have went through that. It's a very emotional experience. So thank you for sharing that. And just on the bright side of it, did you have a career that you dreamed about when you were young? Doesn't have to be that you dreamed to be a sports entrepreneur.
Yeah, no, I wanted to be a running back in the NFL up until my freshman year in college. And I was on the kickoff team and got ran over by Christian Okoye. The Nigerian Nightmare was his nickname, AFC Player of the Year the next year. And I laid on my back thinking doctor, lawyer, failure. But truly, the best part about wanting to be a professional athlete and not making it is I did learn how to enjoy the consistent everyday, persistent without quit pursuit of my own potential. Now, my potential in football was not that of Bo Jackson or Christian Okoye. My potential was an average Division III football player. That's about my potential. But I learned how to reach as close as I could to that. And when I applied it to skills that I did have, things that I was good at, things like I could articulate and sell and market and think better than most people, I was able to use that desire in order to effectuate exponential growth and acceleration. I was a millionaire 9 months out of law school, lost everything, and was a millionaire 2 weeks after I lost everything.
Wow. And, you talked about that. I think when I was little, I wanted to be an NBA basketball player. But the problem was I didn't even make it to your level. I was 14 years old. I was 6 feet, couldn't barely jump 2 inches. But I was going to guard Shaquille O'Neal in the paint. That was my passion. And sometimes I think what we have to figure out too is sometimes our hobbies can be passions. And so for me, playing basketball is a passion. I enjoy shooting hoops and playing the game, but I don't have the innate skills, the abilities to be an NBA basketball player, but I can take some of those other transferable gifts that I have, such as speaking or motivating a team like I was. Like you said, you take those skills and you transfer them to other areas. So that's just such a great point. Now, let's say there's professionals and students out there that want to build their own business. What kind of advice would you give them as a startup entrepreneur?
Number one, ask for help. You know, it's so funny. If I got on your show, Zach, and told everybody, look, next year, 2021, I'm going to pay everybody's state tax and everybody's federal tax, I would get a lot of emails and people being very grateful to me. Let me just tell you this. I pay something that's far more quantitatively valuable. I'll pay your dummy tax. And I know we'll talk about it later, but I do free trainings every Friday to pay people's dummy tax. And the biggest mistake that business owners, small business owners, entrepreneurs make is they don't ask for help. They don't find someone that sits in the situation that they're in and say, hey, how'd you get here so I don't make the same expensive mistakes? And two, all you got to do is stay in business. Eventually, you'll get to be successful as long as you stay in business. A lot of entrepreneurs and small business owners go far beyond where they're supposed to in their perspective. They forget to stay in business. They're so busy counting their dollars about the billion-dollar exit, they forget about paying rent and paying employees. Don't forget about paying rent and paying employees, but most importantly, ask for help. It's easy, much easier to find someone that's already paid the dummy tax than you pay it.
Yeah, and I got to interview my dad, who's a Chinese restaurant owner. He's owned restaurants for 43 years in Michigan, and he has 5 of them. So you can imagine. And his advice is you're going to work a long hours too and hard work, because I think there's glamour when we see businesses like Elon Musk and Tesla, and there's a little, well, maybe they sit at home and just think about cars and design them. But, Dad was very adamant about behind the scenes how it's almost even hard to have work-life balance some weeks because things come up. Like you said, you plan for your yoga and your meditation and you plan for your family, but in business, let's face it, you're working long hours, right? I mean, some weeks, correct?
Yeah. And for exactly what I did to help myself with that is, number one, realize that 2 minutes a day is worth more than 2 hours on a Saturday. So really focusing on being consistent, having the adaptable routine according to my values is also a great benefit. But even furthermore, just changing my perspective of work. I started to bifurcate things into activity I get paid for and activity I didn't get paid for. Just the mental perception of saying, hey, how can I get paid for sitting at my son's flag football game, right? How can I get paid for speaking to an NFL team? I know I can't be a running back, but I want to be involved in that theme of sports. And how can I get involved in a variety of different ways? And that stems from having a perspective. There's just activity, 24 hours of activity every day, a man-made construct that I need to utilize with efficiency, effectiveness, and statistical success. And what I have found perspective-wise to find the light, the love, and the lessons in it is to always look at, hey, is this activity I get paid for or activity I don't, 7 days a week? And when you do that, you'll provide yourself so much more of a weighted balance, so much more quality in the way that you feel. I vacation every day, right? I'm just, in my mind, I cannot fathom the people that leave for 6 weeks and turn everything off. I think they're out of balance. I think if you can't handle your life and enjoy your life every day, and you need to take that long of a break because your life sucks that much the majority of the time, I think you're doing something wrong. Not for me. I'd rather make my life where I feel like I'm vacationing every day. I have a 55 Ford Thunderbird. I'll go take that out for a 30-minute drive in the middle of the week. And all of a sudden, I'm blessed to live in Southern California, but I feel like, I'm on a huge vacation and cruising the one freeway, and my mind goes to vacation, and then boom, back to activity I get paid for.
Awesome. And I think that's so important too. Even other entrepreneurs say, even when you're on vacation, they're thinking about work, but they don't classify it as work. They classify it as fun. They're like, oh, look what that business is doing. Maybe some of those concepts could apply. And they get excited off that energy while they're out, rafting in the rapids. So I think you're right. I think the entrepreneur brain's always kind of thinking. So I do want to get to some of these questions because we did have some come in, but I want to talk about what special thing you're doing on Friday. I think this is so critical, post COVID. A lot of people have downtime. I found myself, Dave, checking my phone and the usage would light up and say that I've spent 10 hours on my phone per day. And there's a break where you have to say, okay, I've got to be more productive in my life post COVID. So what's kind of something you're doing on Fridays? Tell us a little bit about this.
So for over 20 years, I've been doing trainings on Friday for free. They started as sales training because that's where my expertise was, but they've evolved into all types of training, especially now utilizing remote, thousands and thousands of people every single week, not only catch it live, but even millions of people catch it on Spotify on Mondays on the replay. I give free guides, exercises. I give free books with the training. The training themselves are free, and they range everywhere from how to pitch, 5 to Thrive sales system, the ultimate ego training, manifestation training, how to be worthy of everything you receive training. You name it, I'll cover it. It's free on Fridays, usually 11 a.m. Pacific, 2 p.m. Eastern. And all you got to do, david@dmeltzer.com. My email is direct. I answer it. I will get you free joined up, david@dmeltzer.com. Please join me every Friday. If you miss it, go to Spotify, watch it. It's featured there. Entrepreneur Magazine, they feature it as well.
Yeah, and we'll link to it also in the links. I'm going to later be posted on Facebook, and we'll have the links up for Dave's free hour. I think training, we take it for granted sometimes, and we often, I know a lot of students, professionals say, well, what do you mean by training? What can I do? You mean a college course? And I think this is a prime example of something you can add that will develop your skill set as well as your life skill, something that you're doing for free. You have the experience and the knowledge to do this. So guys, I really want you to check this out. And you also have some social media pages as well as they can find you, correct?
Yeah, David Meltzer @David Meltzer. Google David Meltzer. Dave Meltzer, by the way, is the famous wrestling guy, so don't get us confused. I know wrestling, but not as well as Dave Meltzer. So David Meltzer, you can find me LinkedIn, Instagram, Reels, TikTok even. I won't do a dance, but I'll give an inspirational quote of the day or something for you. But David Meltzer.
It's funny you said that, because when I was watching some of your videos, that pulled up the wrestler, and I was like, why does this guy keep pulling up? And so now it makes sense. It's coming together.
Yeah, there's too many famous David Meltzers out there, but I appreciate all of them.
So to ask some of these questions, somebody writes in that they want to be a sports agent after graduation. Any advice on that?
Yeah, 2 things you need to do to be a sports agent. People make it far too complex, whether they go to law school, business school, where should they intern, extern. There's only 2 things to worry about if you want to be a sports agent. Number 1, learn to get a client. And number 2, more importantly, learn to keep that client. And the analogy I use is